Today we're showing you 2.5 void builds that you're going to want to add to your arsenal. 2.5 void builds. How you get half a void build? That's because it's the same exact build with a different exotic for those of you who like to play solo. If you or any of your friends are running Hunter, then make sure to share this video with them, and I'll leave a dim link down in the description for 2 of the builds, which one of them you'll just need to switch out an exotic if you want that third or half a build. And on your way down there, you might as well hit that subscribe button. It'll help me out a lot. Alright, first build we're looking at today is the Omnioculus Void Hunter build. It's great for staying permanently invisible for you and your team, and also giving you some damage resist. This build is perfect if you're having a hard time with Grandmasters, or if it's just a really hard Grandmaster. It'll essentially let you play the game on easy mode. Let's take a look at what the Omnioculus does real quick. Beyond the Veil. You gain a second smoke bomb charge and you have damage resist while invisible. When you make an ally invisible, they gain damage resist while invisible and you gain melee energy. To get the most out of this build, we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge, which dodging nearby enemies will recharge your melee ability, giving you more smoke. Essentially, anytime you dodge near an enemy, it'll just recharge that smoke bomb, so you'll always have one up. As far as our void aspects go, we're going to be using Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you invisible, so when you do go up near an enemy to get that melee charge back, you'll just go invisible. And our other aspect, Trapper's Ambush. Activate Quick Fall to suspend your melee charge and dive to the ground, creating a large smoke cloud on impact, which then dissipates. Targets caught in the cloud are weakened and allies are made invisible. Your smoke bomb makes nearby allies invisible when it is attached to nearby surfaces or targets. So with Trapper's Ambush, anytime you're trying to make an ally invisible, you're going to want to make sure you're jumping and activating Quick Fall instead of throwing your smoke bomb. That's going to allow you to gain way more melee energy back for hitting your allies and making them invisible. For our fragments, we're going to be using Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour. This is amazing for sustainability and survivability, just giving you that extra health back for picking up orbs and killing stuff. Echo of Obscurity. Finish your final blows, grant invisibility. This is amazing for dealing with champions, or if you're in a quick pinch and need to get out. A lot of times with this one, you'll turn yourself invisible, get near an enemy, and then go and finish them once they're low enough. And then you're just staying invisible that whole time. Our last fragment, Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, invisibility, overshields, and devour have increased duration. The only downside to this is if you're making your teammates and yourself invisible, you just have to know that their timers are probably going to be shorter unless they also are running void with this fragment. You really want to make sure you're running volatile flow in your artifact, giving your weapons volatile rounds, as well as having some type of void siphon in your helmet. For this build, you can prioritize resilience and strength. If you don't want to prioritize strength, you can prioritize mobility to have more dodges. It's just more uptime on being invisible. Weapons for this build is just kind of dependent on what you're doing. So if you're using this build for a Grandmaster, you're gonna be using weapons with anti-champion mods in them. And since we're using volatile flow, you're probably gonna want at least one void weapon, whether that be the heavy or energy slot. The repriced Tidal SMG from the Guardian games is amazing if you get Repulsor Brace. It can get Repulsor Brace. Defeating a void debuff target grants an overshield. So anytime you debuff someone, you're getting that overshield, which is amazing. It stacks with a lot of different things. Also, the origin trait Classy Contender. Final blows with this weapon grant class ability energy. Just makes this gun that much better to get all your stuff back. Now that's the quick rundown of build 1. Now build 1.5 is pretty much the exact same build, but if you're playing solo, you're going to swap out the Omnioculus for the 6 Coyote. The 6 Coyote is going to allow you to gain a second dodge charge. So you're pairing that with the aspect Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you invisible. So you're going to have really high uptime on your dodge, but also if you're dodging near enemies, you're going to be replenishing your melee ability, which will give you that smoke bomb, which will also grant you invisibility. It's just a different way of playing the invisibility build, but you can still use the Omnioculus for solo builds completely fine, but you won't be getting that melee energy back from making teammates invisible because you're playing solo. So that's why the 6 Coyote is another option, especially if you don't have the Omnioculus, because then you'll have to grind out some lost sectors. That is not ideal. Now, if you are playing solo, I would recommend this final build, which does require a certain exotic weapon. It's called Ruinous Effigy. You can acquire this bad boy at the exotic archive in the tower. If you go to Shadow Keep Exotics right here, it is this one, second to last, Ruinous FG. You can purchase it with an exotic cipher, glimmer, legendary shards, and an exotic shard. That is not an exotic shard. That's an ascendant shard. We're going to be pairing the Ruinous Effigy with the Garfalcon's chest piece. The exotic trait for this gun is final blows with this weapon collapses victims into void transmutation spheres. Evolution. Transmutation spheres you create can be picked up and wielded as weapons by you or allies. You have a light attack, you have a heavy attack, which slams, and you have a guard, which drains nearby targets. The catalyst is really nice, but not required. It deals increased damage against targets damaged by transmutation spheres. If you don't have Garfalcons, you can run the Graviton Forfeit Exotic Head. Increases the duration of any invisibility effects. While you are invisible, your melee recharges faster, your weapons reload faster, and your recovery is greatly increased. We're also going to be changing one of our aspects, Trapper's Ambush, to Stylus Executioner. Defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing a Stylus Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens targets. This also gives us an extra fragment slot. For this last fragment slot, you can kind of fill it out and use whatever you want. I like to make my grenades weaken targets for that extra damage output. God, my Guardian's beautiful right now. So with the Garfalcon's chest piece using this build, you're going to want to dodge, which is just going to instantly give your void weapons volatile rounds. So once you kill something with Ruinous Effigy, it's going to drop that void sphere on the ground, and when you pick it up, you can literally run up to any target and hold your drain down. It's going to apply volatile to everything you hit with that drain, and then you can keep draining, and if you kill something with the while they're volatile flowed, you'll go invisible. Also, you can use the heavy attack and it'll slam and do a big AoE damage to all enemies nearby, which will also make you invisible, and you can just keep repeating this process. And if you don't have your dodge up, you just need to get like a double kill or a way to create an orb of power. And once you pick up an orb of power, it'll give you volatile flow from your artifact, which will allow you to keep doing this pretty broken combo, especially if you're playing like solo. There's a lot of fun to use. And if you're not using the Garfalcons and you're using the Graviton Forfeit, you're going to have to get an Orb of Power first, which you can easily get by getting a double kill, or if you have Reaper in your class item, anytime you use your dodge, your next weapon final blow will create an Orb of Power. So you can dodge, go invisible, you kill something with the Ruinous Effigy, it'll drop an Orb of Power as well as the Void Transmute Sphere. So then you'll just automatically have the volatile flow, and you can start using your Drain thing, which will make you invisible. And with the Graviton Forfeit, your invisibility will make you last longer and give you all those awesome extra benefits. So those are my 2.5 awesome void builds. And like I said, the first one and the half one are mainly used for like more hard in-game content like GMs and survivability. The second build with the Ruinous Effigy is more of like a fun build. You can use it for solo content as well, even using it on like dungeons and stuff. It's a lot of fun to use. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Make sure to get outside and touch some grass.